Welcome to Stateside F1. I'm Joe Leonardo. That man making the, I'm going to say, Ferrari engine on hard tires, struggling to not fly off the track, is Andrew Berger.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Stateside F1.
We are talking Hungarian Grand Prix. Crazy race weekend, and we have a crazy guest to boot. I don't know why I described you that way. You're not crazy at all. You're a very lovable person and very normal person. We have with us this week Cory Willis, actor and host of the F1 Files podcast. Check them out on all your podcast apps. Give a big round of applause for Cory Willis.
Oh, there it is. There's that piped in crowd noise like the FIA has been doing sneakily at some broadcasts, allegedly.
How real do we think that is?
I think that they were doing that. They put in a little bit of crowd noise, probably is just like a little bit of a rumble.
Sweetener?
Yeah. But I don't think that we're getting any like crowds of people that are boom mic'd up by the FIA in some weird rare like warehouse with the acoustics of a grandstand to match. Yeah, I think there's maybe some sound design under there.
And it makes sense because, coronavirus and everything. And finally this season you have full stands. So
sellout crowds, consistent sellout crowds. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, you two. Thank you.
Let's start with some quali. I got to start with George on pole out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Not basically not hitting sectors, but still getting pole. Phenomenal to watch.
An immediate meme nod is the George Russell is the type of guy to get pole without setting a purple sector is one of the funnier memes that I've seen today.
Agreed.
And it's true. He did not set a purple sector at all on that quali lap, which is bananas. I don't understand how he did that.
I'm surprised we didn't give a nod to our boy Nicky Latifi, the GOAT.
Yeah.
For being on pole for Q3.
Yeah.
For FP3.
For
free practice. I don't know. Everyone kind of lost their mind about that. Like Twitter went ablaze and a bunch of memes and stuff. It's great. But literally hours later, he was last in Q1.
But he set the fastest, like third fastest first sector in Q1.
That's true.
So he did have pace, but maybe that's just because there was like a very, very mighty wind blowing him in the most perfectly downforce, with like applying the most perfect amount of downforce.
Yeah, the Lord is with him, but the car is not.
No.
I mean, in all honesty, it was probably the other cars were not turned up to max power for quali, but
Latifi just got upgrades, didn't he?
I thought it was Aston Martin got some upgrades.
Well,
what am I thinking last week?
Yeah, no, it was that Albon was supposed to get upgrades, but then he binned it in quali at some point in time, and it like offset the upgrade schedule. So then Latifi got the upgrades, and then Albon got the upgrades. So Williams they went from like their kind of like not zero pod, but their similar slim side pod design back to like the more normal sculpted, downwashed side pod. But it wasn't like, it's also a Williams, no offense, but like, when they bring upgrades, it's like, okay, great. So who are you beating? who are you beating at the back?
That's the thing. Like their upgrades, well, they have a Mercedes engine, if I remember. So it's really just their aero that's screwing them. Because Alex Albon, we know, can win a race.
Oh, he can rip it. Yeah.
And it just shows how much it's the car and not the driver, because George Russell got pole. Right? Yeah. And George Russell, former Williams driver. I gotta say, my eyes this whole weekend has been on Lando Norris, and I feel like he was a sleeper. In the race, he wasn't great. I will say he started phenomenal. I wrote in big caps in my phone, Lando Norris FTW for the win.
Was he fifth? Did he qualify fifth? Where did he qualify?
He's fourth. He qualified fourth.
He qualified fourth. Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
And in free practice, he was phenomenal as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is right after some upgrades from McLaren. And this brings me into another point, which breaks my heart to say.
Yeah.
But Daniel Ricciardo, I can't keep supporting this guy.
Really?
I love me some Daniel Ricciardo. I love some Danny Rick. I love the interaction between him and Lando Norris. They're fun together. They're like brothers. My Lord, this guy is just not improving. And it's just sad to watch. And I feel like I put so much emotional weight on him, be like, I want him to do better, but he's just not there.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he would move to Aston Martin, but obviously that's not happening. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. He's the Mark Webber of this era. Just a guy who was just so good, but just was missing something.
Yeah. He's made an ill-advised career move when he left Renault / Alpine to come to McLaren. It was maybe not the best move. I don't know what his other move was, though, quite frankly. Did he have one?
That's the thing. I don't think he had one. Cory, I didn't realize Hamilton had a DRS failure. What?
Yeah. So he had I went back in on the radio because I have F1 TV.
Us too, buddy boy.
Yeah, nice. So how
fancy boy.
It's so great. It's so great and also so bad because I can then go back and just hop on to every single onboard and listen to the radio of every single person that I want to during any session.
That's the good. The bad is it is so glitchy and just a horrible app. It's on the web browser. It's bad. I have Roku streaming bar, like a sound bar, but it has like Roku built in.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You can't pause live. So when you watch it live, you can't pause.
Oh, really?
You can do it on the web, but so I have to wait till the race is over because I have a daughter. So I have to pause it sometimes.
Yeah.
So I wait till the race is over and then I watch it and then I'm able to pause.
Oh God, that's a nightmare. I have it on Amazon through the Amazon Prime, like through Amazon Fire Stick, and that is, I think, the least glitchy version of it.
Roku and Prime sponsor us.
So
yes.
So
we'll be right back with this short message from Amazon.
Oh God, they'll pay.
Do
us
you
no
hate
money.
unions like us?
Yeah, they'll pay us no money and then use our likeness to union bust. No, I think it's version 2, like the Fire Stick 2 just happens to work kind of perfectly with the F1 TV app for whatever. Or I say perfectly because sometimes it'll just freeze and I'll have to go back to like the load screen and then immediately resume the race.
That is so F1 for the best hardware to be a Fire Stick.
For it to be Amazon Fire Stick from 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
I watch it on my phone and I just learned how to cast it to my computer monitor.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I think also maybe the best version is like from a tablet or a phone is casting it, but then you have to have a smart TV. You have to have like a consistent. We don't need to. We're nerding out over like the wrong thing here.
Honestly, this is this show. This show has like we're loosely about Formula One.
More about the experience of watching it.
People get it.
Yeah, I want to mention one quick thing about Haas.
Oh yeah,
K-Mags, Kevin Magnussen is the only one who got upgrades. No difference between him and Schumacher.
It was like 0.8 or something like that. It was that does not bode well for Haas, considering that was their only scheduled upgrade prior to the summer break, which I can't imagine that they have like 2 or 3 scheduled for after the summer break, because that would make no sense to continue to develop your car after the summer break. It's like the way that teams do that is like they're like, oh no, we start focusing on the next year after like basically not right after Spa, but more or less after Spa. No one really brings serious upgrades to their car, which was why Ferrari caught so much attention last year when they had that huge upgrade on their ECU. I think it was ECU and maybe
with signs.
Yeah, at the end of last year. But Ferrari really need to Ferrari's a mess.
They need to do everything.
Everything. Yeah. Eventually, every conversation's just going to lead to, but at least they're not Ferrari, no matter what. Hamilton's DRS though, his DRS, it failed, and he was already setting faster mini sectors than George was in that first sector when George made pole. So that failure means that, like, when they were like, Hamilton had pace to be, right up there in the front row. If he had continued with the pace he was setting in those mini sectors in sector 1 prior to that DRS failure, he would have beaten George's pole by almost a second. So that is the Mercedes is showing
so much promise,
real raw pace.
So qualifying ended, George Russell on pole, Carlos Sainz 2, Charles Leclerc 3. Moving on to the race.
Ferrari just, I can't support the team. I feel like the team should get less money because Ferrari themselves, not only do they get money for being a team, but they also get an additional amount of money for just being Ferrari because they're such a draw.
It's like $600 million per year that they just get for being in F1.
Yes.
Like, that's it. They just get that money if they enter one team.
Well, speaking of winning teams, Max killing it.
Yeah.
Getting first with a 360 spin, just losing one spot. Man, the quick reaction on him to like hit the throttle to complete that spin.
Yeah.
To jump back in the race the man is on a different wavelength from reality.
He's Sebastian Vettel 2.0 in my opinion.
Yeah, Seb had spins like that were perfectly caught. Yeah.
He just did one recently. Oh, where was it?
Oh, yeah. It was Baku, I think, right?
Yes.
Where Seb did one there?
Race.
Yeah, he got knocked off the track and just did a 360, got right back on the track.
Incredible. Oh, and also during the broadcast, I was saying this on my podcast, that Martin Brundle,
the F1 Files,
the F1 Files, folks. Martin Brundle comes on the on the mic and is like, "Yeah, the real danger here is when you roast your tires like that, when you spin your tires. The problem is you can flash fry the surface of those tires, and that cooks the carcass." And that can cause the tire to wear in ways that are. And as he's saying that sentence, Max puts in the fastest lap on like tires that he's like, well, that ruined the. Oh, well, I guess that's not what happened. That's actually okay. Like it literally, I love when Brundle catches himself in.
I mean, Brundle is such a joy.
Yeah,
he's like a little dinner treat.
Yeah,
he's like a little piece of chocolate.
In the middle of dinner though, where you're like, I'm just gonna
in the middle of a meal.
Yeah, where you're like, did you just eat a piece of chocolate? And it's like, oh, it's Martin Brundle chocolate. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he's not the palate cleanser.
No.
That's Joyland Palmer because he just like
100%. Yeah, Joyland Palmer is biting the lime after the shot.
Yeah.
You're just. But you want another shot just to wash the lime down.
Yeah,
That's what he is.
You didn't have to go so hard, Julian. Every time.
He's straight up just like, what is Ferrari doing? What are they thinking?
So brutal.
And he's right though. Like,
every time. Yeah. But it's like, and it's kind of funny too, because Julian has like not a great record as an F1 driver.
No, I think 2 years with Renault.
Yeah, it was fine. I love when Seb retired, they asked him on one of the podcasts, they were like, so Julian, what was your like experience with Seb? And he's like, well, to be fair, I was never really racing against him. He was always at the front of the grid and I was always at the back. So it's not that he's like a jerk to like everyone else. He's just like a very matter of factual, like a very British man. He's a very
totally
like to the point. I'm not.
You just mentioned F1 TV. Do you watch his classic analysis?
Oh yeah, that's where I grew to love to hate Jolyon as
I only have love for him. I only have love for him.
But it's just so.
Stop trying to look like the good guy, Joe.
No, maybe I'm the bad guy here because I love how he's just so brutal.
He's so brutal. He's not forgiving. And there's like Martin Brundle is someone who you're like, yes, that man, when he calls someone out on their poor sportsmanship or their bad behavior or their green racecraft, you're like, yeah, no, Martin Brundle, world champion. That dude can say whatever he wants, right? Like for sure.
I don't think he's a world champion.
Oh no, he's not. He's a Grand Prix winner, not a world champion. I'm thinking of when Damon says something. It's like
Damon Hill. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, Damon, you can say whatever you want. You know, you can rip someone to shreds if you want, but he never does. But yeah, Martin will be like so harsh with people, but still be forgiving. And it's like, well, he's won Grand Prix. He's competed with Ayrton Senna. Like he's literally driven against the legend. So he can say what he wants to, but then Jolyon's like, yeah, I mean, I saw Seb's like rear wing a couple times and then he'd lap me every once in a while, but I'll still shred him.
I stood next to him at a urinal once.
He's just salty, man.
Yeah.
Salt.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it.
I guess I would be too if I got like basically burnt out of F1 and then I was like, oh, I'll just be a commentator.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone to ingratiate myself with. I'm just going to sit behind a desk and maybe interview drivers and roast them to their face.
But I will say this, his commentary is mostly right. I've never disagreed with him.
It is always
That's
right.
the thing.
It is. I've never.
I feel like that's what makes a good commentator. So there is a good cop, bad cop thing to it, but I enjoy him. He's probably my favorite commentator.
Yeah,
I will say. I'm gonna do a little transition. I think we should talk replacements. All right, big news: Sebastian Vettel retiring from Aston Martin, and then we found out that Fernando Alonso is taking his spot. Who is now moving to Alpine?
What's his name?
Piastri.
Oscar
I mean,
Piastri.
it's gonna be Oscar Piastri.
100%. I asked the question as if there's multiple answers.
Yeah. Safnauer was like, he has openly said he guaranteed Piastri and a seat next year. Like he was like, I'm keeping you as a junior driver at Alpine, but that doesn't mean like you will have a seat next year.
I even think Alpine wanted to loan him out for a year just to get him an F1.
Yeah, that was the plan.
For 2023. And then maybe he'd do Williams or somewhere else.
That was the plan to put him at Williams. But now Williams has like, what is Williams going to do?
Latifi's going to be gone.
He has to be. It doesn't matter if he's got the money at this point. I don't.
Not this year. No, I think Vettel
for 2023. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think, I think Vettel retiring gives Latifi one more year.
Ooh,
you think so?
I don't think so. He is not performing at all, and his contract's up.
Yeah. Also,
I understand your love for Williams.
Well, there's
they're just so classic.
Nick De Vries. Nick De Vries is the Formula E champion. He just did testing. I know.
I have opinions on Formula E.
Yeah.
I love what it does. I love how it's environmental and stuff, but my lord.
Yeah.
It's basically F-Zero. It's real life F-Zero.
I wish you folks could have seen what Joe's face did as soon as I mentioned not even Nick De Vries' name. I said Nick De Vries, and then I said Formula E, and he slunk down in his seat, threw his head backwards, like Muppet style, opened his mouth like, bah.
Hey, maybe the audience should vote on a car on their favorite driver, and we should give them some sort of advantage for no reason.
Yeah.
I hate that little power strip they have.
It's the greatest. It's one of the best ways to engage fandom without being gross.
Fan Boost. I keep forgetting the name. Yeah, Fan Boost.
It is
I hate Fan Boost so much.
I don't love it.
I hate it so much.
The thing is, it's more accessible for fans of Formula style racing.
Yeah.
Formula One is just, it is ridiculous.
It was already inaccessible. Even when it wasn't popular. as someone who had to quite literally fly across the world to catch a race.
You know what? Then watch IndyCar. Then watch IndyCar. How about that?
It's not the same.
It's so American.
But it's also not as technical.
But it's inaccessibility, its inaccessibility is due to the time zones.
Yes.
No, I'm saying even Formula One, when they come to the US.
Oh yeah, you're not getting in.
No.
Yeah, you like.
No.
But you're getting into IndyCar. You're getting into NASCAR. You're getting into.
I want to go to
Formula E. You literally, if I take the wrong turn in Brooklyn, I'm on a Formula E track.
So I'm guessing you don't like the street style tracks that they've been building for F1, Joe. Yeah, no.
Dude, you hear about Vegas? We talked about Vegas. So they want to turn Vegas into a street circuit.
5 hours from me. I'm gonna go.
Totally. It's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a spectacle. But they're turning the Vegas Strip into a DRS zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the casinos around are going to hate it. They're going to hate it because of foot traffic. Yeah, they already do.
That's why they're doing
foot traffic alone. They're going to lose.
That's why they're doing it on Thanksgiving weekend. It's a weekend.
Yeah, people don't gamble on Thanksgiving.
No one goes
Thanksgiving
there.
Weekend?
It's happening Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, and they're doing that because the U.S. population will have nothing to really complain about. The U.S. business owners there will have nothing to complain about because their casinos are usually empty. But now if Formula One comes, then they're going to be full of European people and people from all over the world. So they've struck this weird balance where they're just going to do it on Thanksgiving weekend.
I can't wait to watch that race. It's going to be so bonkers.
Yeah.
When you bring up Thanksgiving, my favorite thing about Thanksgiving is the morning after, you get that cold turkey sandwich with the stuffing and the cranberry sauce on top.
And then you watch American football. You don't watch racing.
You don't even get to watch Canadian football. So yeah.
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 We have to start wrapping this up.
Yeah. Oh boy.
All right. Race results. Verstappen killed it. First, second, Hamilton, George Russell. Oh my God. I just want to quickly bring up that little battle between Lewis and George and laps, lap 65?
Yeah. I was
They didn't really fight
that.
it out, but George defended a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no race orders or anything.
It was 66 through 68, I think, were the laps that they battled.
Yeah.
And it was a real battle. And it was that was, I think the idea there was, why don't we let them race? Because Lewis at this point, and Lewis said this in the post-race, one of the post-race interviews that he did, was I wasn't going, after that first stint, I realized I wasn't going to be competing for the win of the race. I did realize there was just no way he was going to catch up.
I think it was 7, but when they ended, he was 7 seconds up. So.
Yeah, which is that's better than what we've seen before. But it was he knew he wasn't going to win the race, and I think Toto and Shove were we're all they're not going to wreck the cars. They're smart enough. They're
very cautious. Exactly. They're not Ferrari.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not in a title fight, so there's really nothing left to lose.
Exactly.
Exactly. They're just learning, getting better at their racecraft.
Hard tires.
Yeah.
Why? What was the purpose for Ferrari?
Ferrari is the concept album of Formula One this year. Ferrari is the Sgt. Pepper's of Formula One.
I would love to hear this explained.
But Sgt. Pepper's is appreciated.
It's Sgt. Pepper's is considered one of the best albums of all time.
Yeah, this is not going to be one of the best Ferrari seasons of all time.
Well, all right, just hear me out. So,
I'm with you. I'm riding the train.
Okay.
I got a ticket. I've stepped on board. Doors closed.
All right.
Okay.
Next stop.
All right. So we're on. So the Beatles, when they made Sgt. Pepper's, so they made it on a 4-track recorder.
Mm-hmm.
So to get all their weird sounds, well, one, they had to pull the tape through the room just to kind of get weird delay sounds, and they also played stuff backwards.
McCartney
John
with his
Lennon
pencil.
Did that.
Mm-hmm.
I know all Beatles facts.
All
McCartney
that.
had a little pencil and then would lift it and drop it on the playhead to get weird noises.
To get the weird tape slap thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, he would do that, and they would also do slow tape stops. So you would physically grab the tape, the spinning tape, to essentially you'd break the motor by doing it,
slowing the
But it's
reel
sound.
itself so that the tape slows. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing, and it was all experimentation, being on drugs. So the Italians and Mattia Binotto and family are just. They're probably like when they get to the race, they're like, all right, yo, like I'm dropping Molly like 1 p.m. Race starts at 3.
Okay.
It's going to hit.
My beans. I'm dropping my bean so I can.
I wish this was true, but I feel like the reality is they're just bad.
Yeah.
Dude. They're just dumb and they focus on the wrong things. And I think they're too in their heads. So Verstappen did an undercut, right? Mm-hmm. And it put everybody in the pit.
Right.
Everybody started pitting. And then that's when Ferrari, I think, threw on their hards.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, let's put on hards and we don't have to do another change, tire change again, which they ended up having to do because Leclerc couldn't drive in the car.
They screwed themselves from the jump. They screwed themselves with 10 laps.
I feel like Molly would have had them make a better decision.
Yeah.
I know. So that's the thing. So Mattia Binotto is the record producer. So he's like
George
the Jimmy
Martin?
Page.
Okay.
No, he's like Jimmy Page.
Okay.
Now.
Jumped to Zeppelin.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, because I know in Zeppelin they recorded like to get the drum sounds for when the levee breaks. They had the drums like on the first floor of some house. And they had the microphones hanging from the ceiling of this like 2 or 3 like this giant house effectively. Mm-hmm. So that's why it sounds like just so giant and like it sounds like waves. So. But you know,
again, tying this to Ferrari.
Yeah.
How does this tie to Ferrari now?
So Mattia Binotto is Jimmy Page and George Martin, where they're like, oh, this would sound cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so he's like, we should put the hard tires on the car.
So I'm with you. I understand, but I feel like where your analogy doesn't work is Jimmy Page and George Martin ended up making the correct decisions.
Yeah.
Those albums are multi-platinum albums, Grammy Award-winning albums. Ferrari is literally Ferrari is literally like the Monkees.
Yeah, Ferrari is Milli Vanilli.
Just like something where
my pitch here is that Ferrari is the Ballad of Pagliacci the Clown.
Oh my God.
So
where are we going?
Okay, so just follow me here. Okay, so the whole story of Pagliacci is like this guy keeps going to his therapist because he's like miserable at work, and he's like, I'm miserable, I'm having a terrible time, it's awful. And the therapist is like, hey, you know what? There's this amazing, we're all stressed. Everyone is really stressed in life. What you need to do is you need to go and like live your life and enjoy someone else like performing. Go out there. There's this amazing performer. He's this clown in town, and like it's the most sad and dramatic thing, and it's just everything goes wrong for him, and people go and laugh and just let free and forget all of their troubles of their week. And the guy goes, but doctor, I am Pagliacci. So the whole thing here is like Ferrari is the spectacle, right? Everyone wants to see Ferrari. Everyone wants to see it. But like Ferrari is like, yeah, we're like believing our own hype. Like we're like going to the race and celebrating.
But again, this analogy doesn't work because the clown was making people feel better and was making people laugh.
The clown kills himself. So that's the story. So it's
but
much like Ferrari.
You know what? You guys took your turns at an analogy for this. I'm going to bring this home.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm bringing this home because we are way over time.
Yeah, okay. All right.
You said let's talk Ferrari. We were already over time, and we went into. We went into Led Zeppelin. We went into the Beatles. We went into a clown, a suicidal clown.
Yeah. Luciano Pavarotti performs this amazing, the song that you're thinking of when you think of the sad, like slow motion pizza commercial, something falls off and the person's like, oh no. That song is the Ballad of Pagliacci.
I'm going to make this simple.
Okay.
This is going to be a simple analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Good guy Joe.
That everybody knows. Good guy Joe here.
Let's go.
Ferrari is a train wreck. Everybody enjoys watching a train wreck, but it's a train that's a very expensive, like you know how Lincoln did the Intercontinental Railroad, and he like these trains are gonna go from east to west. And that's my Lincoln apparently. These trains are gonna go from east to west, right? Let's say that train.
Mm-hmm.
That train's like a monumental, famous train.
Painted scarlet red.
Yeah, let's paint it red.
Yeah.
It completely wrecks. Everybody's watching that train. Everybody loves the train because they're like, this is a historic train, but we're all watching a train wreck.
Yeah. Okay, that's simple. That's simple. That's very straightforward.
That's easier.
Yeah,
all right. Moving on. We're going to do a little special eulogy for Sebastian Vettel.
Early retirement, in my opinion.
I would agree. Honestly, Alonso should be retiring, not Vettel.
Yeah, that would make much more sense.
Vettel's I think he has like 3 kids. He's been married. I think his oldest kid is probably about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I totally understand the angle he's coming from. And his whole career is like an up and down, but in different areas. So he started with BMW when he made his debut, moved to Toro Rosso, won at Monza, similar to Pierre Gasly in 2020, I believe. And then he moved to Red Bull and won 4 championships, where in one of the races, he had a multi-21. There's an incident where it's called multi-21, which essentially meant Vettel to hold position in P2 so his teammate Mark Webber could win his final F1 race.
It's the team orders thing. It's like what team orders is in reference to usually.
Yeah.
Yes. And Vettel didn't follow them, and he passed Mark Webber, and that just was a bit of a train wreck. So from there, Vettel kind of became some level of a bad guy because he was just so dominant, so amazing. I think he had a 7-race win streak.
He was hated too.
Yeah.
He was, because he's just a super uber obnoxiously focused guy. And when someone's so good for so long, you get over it. And the thing is, Sebastian Vettel, he's not like Lewis Hamilton, where he's an icon he's a fashion icon.
Right.
So yeah, but Sebastian Vettel is like so focused on F1, very similar to Michael Schumacher, who is his mentor. I'll just add in real fast. But then once Sebastian left Red Bull, I don't really understand why. He had the dream of winning with Ferrari. He was close, and then Ferrari bagged him and he moved to Aston Martin. And then that's kind of, I think, where he started to, open his eyes to a world outside of F1, where he started to promote caring about the environment, about women's rights in multiple different countries, and equal rights, equal love, and all these very important causes that I really enjoyed seeing in F1.
While still having a little bit of that Vettel like bad boyness.
Yeah.
Didn't the head of F1 say like we shouldn't be riding around in like rainbow bikes, and then like he like got a rainbow bike or something?
Yeah, I mean he's a troll.
Amazing.
He's a troll. He's like the perfect troll in F1.
He's our troll.
Yeah. But like, as someone who hated him, fully despised that dude, while I was like really finding my fandom, he was dominating the sport. And I went to a couple of races in Canada, and the first couple of races I went to, or not the first couple, but the first race I went to was the Jenson Button epic comeback of 2011. But then I got to go to a couple other races, and he was quite literally being like booed because he would win races by a minute. It would be like on the first lap, he would be leading by like 7 to 8 seconds. Like, it was wild. We would sit at the hairpin at Canada, and like by the time the cars got around, like he'd come around, and then there'd be like 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds before the next car would come down to enter that corner. And it was just so deflating as a fan to be like, I watched all weekend, and now it's like, well, that dude's going to win. That dude on the first lap, not even a minute has gone by, that guy is going to win the race. And now we just get to hopefully watch something else happen. But it was...
Wow.
Max is slowly turning into that.
He is, but at least he's doing 360s to win the race.
He's very enjoyable to watch.
He's not speed
and
running.
He doesn't always qualify in pole too. So you're actually seeing him battle up to the up to the front.
I was thinking today, it's like Max is like he's speed running. Like Vettel would speed run these Grand Prix. Max is like 100%ing these Grand Prix. He's having like blown pit stops. He's having failures in his clutch in the first few laps. He's having like damn near like
he's also playing the DLC.
Yeah, and then like ripping 360 donuts while leading the Grand Prix to lose it, to then overtake his main rival and embarrass him so hard that he doesn't even podium. Like it's like. This dude is winning races in ways that, like, I'll watch him be 4-time world champion and not, like, despise him the way that I despise Sebastian's rise. Even though now I'm even more like, hey, Max's first championship was a little, like, eesh. But, like,
100%.
Oh, boy, does he deserve it this year. And going forward, if he's doing 360s,
our eulogy for Sebastian Vettel turned into a praise fest. Talking about how great Max Verstappen is.
A Max appreciation post.
As someone who's not a Max Verstappen fan by any stretch
Same.
of the imagination, he's brilliant. It's so fun to watch him race.
All right, let's wrap this one up. Thank you for listening to Stateside F1. Please like, comment, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your sweet, sweet podcast content. Follow us on Instagram at Stateside F1 and TikTok at Stateside F1 Podcast. Feel free to message us, DM us, memes, comments, questions, suggestions, etc. We will follow you back. Big thank you to our guest today, Cory Willis, actor and host of the F1 Files podcast. Check them out on all your podcast apps as well. And follow them on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff at Burn Cory Burn. Also, shout out to Kitman Motors for all your Porsche kit car content. Check them out on Instagram at Kitman Motors 1. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.